Welcome to the Keep Dreaming podcast, the show where adversity meets purpose and purpose gives birth to your destiny, but more importantly, your dreams. I'm your host, Charleston Girley, so grab your coffee and let's dive in. Well, it's another morning, and I'm glad that my listeners are tapped in with me on this morning as we jump into episode 5 of the Keep Dreaming podcast. And so, welcome back. I'm excited that you all are still with me, that you are still on this course as we continue to find ways to bring our dreams into reality. And so on today, I'm sipping on a caramel latte. And the reason being is because I wanted a little comfort for myself. And sometimes we need that in this thing that we call life, especially when life doesn't go the way that we wanted it to go, when it doesn't happen in the manner in which we ever wanted it to happen. And that's this thing that we call life. It's like a roller coaster where every day is a gift from God. But within that gift, you never know what is to come, what may happen. And so every now and then we need some comfort. And so I feel like today's episode is going to be genuine. It's going to be soft. It's going to be comforting because I want us to understand that even in the midst of turmoil, even in the midst of the down moments, there's still comfort to be found in God. There's still comfort to be found in your dreams. And understanding that sometimes you got to give yourself grace. Sometimes you got to take a step back, relax, understand that you are right where you're supposed to be and everything is happening for you, not against you. So if you got your coffee, if you got your tea, you got your water, whatever you got, let's cheers to this episode and let's get going. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever been so close to your dream that you could taste it? You felt like it was right there. You felt like it was in your vicinity. And you felt like you were very, very close. But then out of nowhere, everything changed. Your life got turned upside down. The worst thing that you could ever imagine happened. And you felt all of this setback. You felt like, man, maybe my dream won't come true. Maybe the door has slammed shut. Maybe I heard God wrong. Maybe I didn't hear him clearly in the manner that I thought that I would. And the plan fell apart. And suddenly what felt like destiny now feels like a delay. Well, that's the title of today's episode, Delayed, Not Denied. There are many times in life where we feel like we are denied. We feel like the door is slammed shut and we feel like we can't gain access into something that we work so hard for, into something that we put all of our sweat, blood, and tears into. But I'm here to tell you on this episode, I'm here to tell you right now, that the delay is not a denial. It doesn't mean that you didn't hear God clearly. It doesn't mean that you're not on the right path. It doesn't mean any of those things. But sometimes in life, God pauses us. Maybe we got too far ahead. Maybe there's something he's wanting to cultivate with us in this moment. Maybe there's a redirection. Or maybe God is taking you from good to great. You see, a lot of times in our minds, we have this thought, we have this vision, but God's plans, his visions for us are so much greater. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. And so sometimes we have to understand that when we are experiencing a delay, it doesn't mean that God doesn't love us and doesn't want to give us the desires of our heart. Rather, it may be a moment in time where God is taking you from what you thought that you wanted, what you thought would happen, and taking you on a different path to a brighter horizon, a bigger sunset, sunrise, whatever you may think that it is. And so sometimes that delay is the blessing. Sometimes that delay is the promise. Sometimes that delay is the gift from God because it allows you to relax. I know in society we want everything quickly. We want everything to come fast. And so when we experience a pause, when everything starts to slow down, when we experience a delay, we may internally feel like we got something wrong. When we have to go in a different direction, we may internally feel like this isn't going to happen. But I'm here to tell you on this episode that's not the case. And so as I reflect over my life, there are two examples where God took me from good to great. But how I saw it, originally I saw it as a denial. And so if I go back to my football career, and I talked to you all about my first dream being that I wanted to play Division I, I wanted to play on ESPN. And so initially, I accomplished that dream. In my second season, I ended up earning my scholarship. And so at this point, I'm on all special teams and I'm getting a little playing time on defense. And so we go through the conference, we end up winning the championship. And so the thing about Arkansas State is that we had 5 coaches in 5 years. And so during that time, we ended up having a coaching change. And so when this coaching change happened, a new coach came in and he brought in a whole new staff. And so as we were getting ready for spring ball, I saw the depth chart and I went from being number 2 on the depth chart to falling to number 4. And so if you know anything about football, when you fall that far on the depth chart, now there was no rhyme or reason as to why this happened. It just happened. But when you fall that far, you don't get any reps or limited reps in practice. And so for the whole spring ball, I didn't really get a chance to showcase the new coaches, my skill sets, and all of these different things. And so at the end of spring, I ended up losing my scholarship. They took my scholarship. And I was hurt. I was hurt. The dream that I thought that I had, the dream that I thought that I was living, I was hurt. It was taken. And it got so extreme that my parents called me and they said, hey, we can't afford to pay for school. So now I'm stuck with a decision. And I'm saying, God, I feel like you were about to give me my dream. I feel like I was living in my dream and now it's gone. I don't know what to do. And I remember walking out, sitting on the steps out of my dorm, and I remember crying. Men do cry. And so I remember crying and I was praying to God and I said, God, this can't be a denial. I can't go out like this. If you give me another opportunity, if you give me another shot, I'll prove to you that I need this scholarship, that I will earn this scholarship. And what I thought was a delay, or what I thought was a denial, was just a delay. And it allowed me to dig deep within myself because that summer, I went to another level. After every workout, after every practice, I went to a hill on the other side of town and I ran the hill, working out in the nighttime, just pouring into myself. And so come fall camp, I started off fall camp 4th string. Fall camp is 2 weeks. By the end of fall camp, not only had I earned my scholarship back, but I became a starter. And so that was just a moment where I thought that a denial was only a delay to birth something within me, to birth something that I didn't think that I had, grit. And I had to birth that within myself. But when I did, when God showed it to me, I became a different version. I became a better version. I actually became a better athlete. And so that was one experience. Another experience is when I talked to you all about going through my real estate career. And I made $100,000. That was a big dream. But that very next year, I blew all of it. I blew all of the money and I was heartbroken. I was facing bankruptcy. I was behind on bills. My accounts were in the negative. But again, it wasn't as if God was denying me, but it was a delay because I had not learned money management. And so God had to take me through a season where I had to learn how to manage money. And so me losing that money, it hurt. But my dream did not stop. It was simply just a delay because God had to teach me something. Sometimes in the delay, all it is God teaching you something, birthing a skill set, birthing a different version of you, and you have to be able to lean into it. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy. When I lost my scholarship, I was heartbroken. When I lost $100,000, I about lost my mind because these were moments where I thought that I had something that I worked so hard for, a dream that I thought I was slowly building and bringing into reality. And then in an instant, it was gone. And so one of the things that it taught me is that the visions and the dreams that you think, they're not here forever. They may come, they may go, but it's your purpose that stays. It's the purpose that God has over your life. What is his will that will ensue and birth something within you that will last forever? One thing that I had to learn, I could get the scholarship back. The money that I thought that I lost, I could get that back. But what God birthed in me through those denial seasons or those delay seasons, that's when I became great. You see, I was just good before the delay. But then after the delay, when I leaned into it, when I trusted God, I became great. And so what are the lessons that I want us to learn from this episode? Well, number one, I want us to understand that a delay doesn't mean denial. It just means development. I got a scripture for you. James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. And it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. So let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." And so sometimes God wants to make you complete, but he has to maybe delay you for a little bit. The second principle, setbacks are often setups for a stronger comeback. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called to his purpose." The third principle, God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match our plans. I think that's the hardest one because, again, we have the vision, we have the dream, but God's timing, his plans are way better than ours. Habakkuk 2 and 3, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. For it will certainly come and it will not delay." That delay that you are experiencing is just still God's timing. You are right where you are supposed to be. You're right in the mix, but you can't give up. Don't give up in the delay. Don't walk away in the delay just because it isn't happening the way that you thought. Rather, it could be right on the other side of it, but because you gave up in that moment, because you decided not to trust God when it mattered the most, now you are willing to leave your dream on the shelf. And we always say we can't be the killers of our own dreams. And so there's a quote that I want you to pay attention to, and it says, "A dream delayed is not a dream denied. It simply is God's way of preparing you for what you prayed for." How do we really know if we're ready for our dream? We don't know what it consists of. We don't know of all of the skill sets that we will need to have. We don't know of the trials and the tests that will happen when the promise lands, when the dreams come into fruition. And so then that's when you have to truly trust God. If God blessed you and gave you the vision, you really have to trust him in the moments where you can't see it happening, in the moments where you don't feel like it's going to happen. So this week, here's how I want you to respond. I want you to get your journal, and I want you to write in the journal the dream that is delayed, the dream that isn't happening right now. And I want you to write about how you truly feel. If you feel disappointed, I want you to write that. If you feel frustrated, I want you to write that. I think it's important that we have to embrace the journey. We have to face the journey. So I want you to journal it. I want you to pray it out. Psalms 34:17 says, "The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles." Cry out to God. Ask him, "Hey, what is it that I need to learn? What is it that I'm missing? Why hasn't this happened yet?" So many times we are afraid to go ask the Creator as if he wasn't the one that gave it to us, who can provide us the insight on what it is that we need to learn. When I was sitting and I was wondering why I lost my scholarship, I felt like God showed me that he needed to birth a different version of me. When I lost all of that money, I sat with God and he told me that he needed to develop money management skills within me. And so I want us to sit with the frustration, sit with what we feel like is a delay, write out the emotions, and then start to talk to God about what you need to learn in this season, what you need to learn in this delayed period. Because the dream is going to happen. If God said it, his word is truth. So we know that it will happen. But this week, give yourself a little grace, give yourself a little comfort. Know that you are right where you are supposed to be, and know that the dream is still on its way. So this week, write down a dream that feels delayed in your life. Next to it, list what you believe is God is teaching you through the delay. Then write one step, just one, that you can take this week to show God that you're still ready and willing to pursue the dream that he gave you. Prove to him and prove to yourself that you're still engaged and you're still willing to rock forward. So, go to my page, go to my Instagram, Facebook, share in the comments, tag me about a time your dream was delayed but not denied and how you're fighting to see it through. Always remember, a delay doesn't mean it's dead. I want you to keep going, keep believing this week, and always keep dreaming. And so if you feel like this episode encouraged you, if you feel like you learned a lot, you felt like you got a burst of energy from maybe not feeling inspired this week, I want you to share it with somebody. I want you to subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to this YouTube, and check back in with me on next week as we get ready to tackle episode 6. Peace, love, keep dreaming.